The Market Musings podcast with Fairbairn and Russell. Hello and welcome to the Market Musings podcast, where today we're welcoming back our guest from Mode PLC, Jonathan Rowland, the chairman. I think last time we spoke, Jonathan, you were actually the CEO, so it seems like your role has changed, but you have appointed a CEO, I believe. But you're welcome back on the podcast to talk about Mode and the crypto world and all that nice stuff. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Kenneth. Nice to talk to you again. Yeah, you're correct. I've appointed a CEO, or we appointed a CEO, I think 2 months ago, Ryan Moore. I've taken a sort of a more executive role at chairman level to oversee strategy, PRIR, that sort of thing. So slight change in the sort of structure of the group over the last few months since we last spoke.
Yes, but I think an awful lot's changed as well, hasn't it? And we've been speaking to a lot of your team, Rita and Yanis as well. So, there's definitely a lot going on with Mode. Kenny, how are you doing?
Yep, all good, all good. Great to have you back on again, Jonathan. I think it was probably, it must have been 5 or 6 months ago when we first had that chat together.
It might have been last year, actually. I'm not sure. It could have been the back end of last year. Time flies, right?
I know, it's crazy. I used to blame it on COVID, time flying, but it's not COVID anymore. I think it's just the fact I'm getting older. That's what it is. It just seems to accelerate as you get older. So, no.
Kenny, were you supporting England in the game on Sunday, or are you a true Scot?
No, I wasn't supporting England. No, I don't want to get into too much trouble, but I was getting loads and loads and loads of WhatsApp abuse when England scored, and I just bit my tongue, and then just waited for the moment. But listen, if they'd won, it'd have been great for the country. That might have been great for the stock market and investing in general. It might have been a feel-good factor. But no, they've done really well to get there, and it's progress, obviously. You know, from the semi-final of the World Cup and now the final of the Euros. So, I think it'd be good for the UK in general if they had won, but obviously they didn't. So onwards and upwards, we just crack on and
on to the World Cup.
On to the World Cup, and I can't see. I think the temperature's going to win over there. I can't see a European country winning that. To be honest, it's just crazy temperatures. So it is mad.
Yeah. Well, you tempered what you said. You were saying in the WhatsApp groups the weekend, Kenny, for the podcast, because there was a lot of stuff going around from the Scotsman. But the
way I looked at it, if England had won, I said, well, you never beat Scotland, so it doesn't count. That was my get out clause. But no, it was good to see quite a few of the UK teams obviously making the finals. You know, obviously Wales were there as well. So yeah. It's good. It's good from my perspective for Scotland to be back at a finals, albeit we get in through the back door. But hey ho, is what it is.
Indeed. So, Jonathan, what's been going on with Mode then? And there's a lot of things that have changed recently, but maybe just we can get your initial sort of summary, maybe, because a lot has changed. You've certainly been blazing a trail.
Yeah, I think we've been pretty busy this last 6 months. We appointed Jonathan Conway as our CTO earlier this year, and he was integral in writing and being part of the banking specification on open banking. So great addition to the team, brought some professional approach, has really built out his team in the last 6 months, and that has been shown by the sort of progress we've made. So I think you might have seen we partnered with the Hut Group too.
Yes.
Which is, a great transaction for us. It's like a flagship merchant for us, a great partnership. They got 30 plus brands that we can leverage now, plus all of the people who operate on their Ingenuity platform. So, people like Boots and various others. So there's a lot of opportunity for us from this partnership, and it's like almost a full-time job for us. I mean, we're also signing up other merchants at the moment, but THG has really become the focus point of the company. We also launched our new payment solution in beta, which was really exciting for the team to do. Mode app users can demo the payments features and understand how it works, the product, which has been great because it's something we've really been gearing up for since really the end of last year. As we were discussing before the podcast, we also received our 5MLD registration, and we're one of only 5 companies now on that register, which is great as well because it gives people the trust they need from a company like ours, where regulation has become really key in the last few months with all the sort of clampdown and regulation. So we're really happy we got that registration in the end, and with it we got our e-money license, which brings an additional sort of trust level and layer to the company, where regulation for me from the very beginning, actually, guys, I said to my team, if we get regulated in a blue chip environment like the UK with the FCA, it will be worth it, but it will take time. And it did take time. It took us 2 years, but it is going to be worth it because we're seeing all of those issues coming to fruition now with regulation. We also applied to the OTCQB in the US, and we know that the SEC and FINRA are hugely backlogged at the moment, and everyone's having the same problems with delays, but we expect to have a positive outcome to that in the very, very near future. So that plus a load of other things have been happening. It's been an exciting 6 months for us.
No, it certainly has. So we can go through some of those points, and I'll just start with the FCA one, because that is a big one. That was what was hitting the headlines around. And I mean, you say it was key for you, but why is it key then? Do you think because it brings that level of trust with people who are not sure? Or is there a risk that with regulation, there's barriers in the way, but generally you think it's better to be regulated than not, do you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to get regulated at any level in the UK. It's not a short process. You have to have experience of doing it, which luckily I have. I've been involved in, I think, 10 banking license applications globally, many FCA applications, and in particular with Mode, we've got a small payments license, we've got an EMI license now, e-money license, and we've got the registration. So it's not easy, and sort of my experience of doing it over 20 years has really helped. It does bring a huge amount of trust to the customer, especially in a world where most people look negatively at cryptocurrency, especially now. There's been a change in market sentiment over the last 2 months. I think being able to demonstrate that we are a fully regulated company with all the appropriate registrations and regulations specifically in this area is a huge, huge positive for us. And I don't think anybody has quite understood the significance of that for this company. There's no one like us listed. There's no listed company who has that registration, who has the e-money license, who is actively operating a retail cryptocurrency digital wallet and a payment system that is over open banking. It's all brand new stuff. No one's doing it. And it's very important that we have that regulation around us to say, look, if you're nervous and you don't trust Bitcoin or crypto or payments, then we have a gold stamp from the regulator in the UK to say these guys have been given these licenses because we trust them to manage their business appropriately under regulation. So it's very important to us. And as you may have seen, 90% of the companies that tried to get to this registration with the 5MLD, we can call it cryptocurrency registration to make it easier for people to understand, 90% have withdrawn their applications. So we are truly in a unique group of not many, and that makes us very excited with the future for us and demonstrating to people how great the business is and how the regulation supports what we're doing.
And I mean, do you think then that regulation is the way forward? I mean, what would you say to people who might sort of, I don't know, maybe you'd call them Bitcoin maximalists, is that what you say? Who it's all about going against the regulation kind of thing and having something that is separate from central bank control. But is it inevitable really that we're going to see regulation in the crypto market?
Look, whenever there's a customer involved, like you, me, Kenny, the regulator's never going to let, or the authorities are never going to let the customer necessarily be left without any sort of guidance or regulation. And although we all hoped or may have hoped that crypto and digital assets would be completely below the radar of all this stuff. I just don't think it can be, because there's always a customer at the end, and the customer may not understand things, may need support, may need that trust level around what they're doing. So I just don't, I think, as you said, Mark, it's inevitable that the regulator will try and regulate this in a way that gives it flexibility. I think the FCA have done a good job at leading here in Europe. But I do believe that when you've got a customer who's moving money around from their personal wealth or bank accounts, that there has to be some sort of regulation, registration to assist that process. I just don't think you can get around that. So that's why we always went to our roadmap, and our plan was always to be regulated and always to do it in the best place possible, which is, in my view, the UK.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, really, to get mainstream adoption by the world, or everybody in the world, you are going to need that kind of framework in place. And I guess it doesn't change the fact that you can still have the open ledger, does it? And that fundamental part of the Bitcoin idea of transparency and the open ledger.
No, yeah. But look, if I said to you, do you want to transact with a business where there's no regulation, there's no reputation, there's no trust, you might say, yeah, I'll do it for £50, £100. But if you're talking £1,000 or more than that, perhaps, you might say, well, you know what, I'm not going to take that risk.
I must admit, Jonathan, and since the 5 months that we spoke, it's actually trying to get fiat money into the crypto world is an absolute nightmare at the moment. It just seems, I mean, I'm all for regulation, and it's great that you guys have got it. And I mean, I actually done a bit of research, and there's actually 80 companies actually trading with a temporary registration at the moment. So for you guys to get one of only 5 is a fantastic achievement. But no, I call it the magic bullet at the moment. Trying to get money into crypto, you've got to bounce it off various different providers before you can eventually get it to arrive in your chosen wallet, and it's only getting more and more difficult. Time consuming and frustrating. So for you guys to have the app, it's certainly it's an easy route for somebody new to the crypto world to get involved. I know I'm fairly new in the crypto world, but I've got 4 or 5 different exchanges, and I'd like to think I know how to navigate my way around. But for somebody brand new to it, it's just impossible.
Yeah, I think we always set ourselves up as, look, we're creating a global ecosystem for financial services, which includes, among other things, cryptocurrency payments, Bitcoin cashback. It's going to involve a lot of things, and one piece of that is the crypto side. And we just feel that by keeping it very simple and very easy with that element of the business, where we only allow people to manage sterling, euros, and Bitcoin, and the purpose of that point is Bitcoin. We're not saying to people, come here, you can buy whatever coin you like. You can buy number 100 on the list of coins. We're just sticking to one product, which is Bitcoin, because we feel that will be the prevailing coin, that we feel that will be the money of the internet. We know people have knowledge of that over every other, mass knowledge of that to people over many other coins is obvious. So we're keeping it very simple for people. We're saying, if you want to buy or sell or hold your Bitcoin through Mode, that's all we're going to offer you. And we're going to offer you it with a wrapper around it, which is regulated, secure, and robust. And that's, by using best-in-class partners, we have a robust infrastructure to manage your wealth, your money, your Bitcoin in a very regulated way. So that is our offering on that side of the business. And it's very, very clear to people. And we try to educate people as we go. And picking up on Kenny's point about, it's becoming difficult to get money in and out of exchanges, etc. That's because the regulators are clamping down globally. And we've seen finance under huge pressure over the last few months.
Yeah.
Everyone's pretending it's not happening, but it is happening, and the regulators are picking up on this. And as I said, that temporary registration you mentioned, Kenny, I think something like 90% of the companies that were applying or on that register have now withdrawn their application. So it's huge. We are one of only 5 companies One company, Gemini, has 2 applications, so it's only 4 companies, I think. And we're the unique person there. We're listed.
Mm-hmm.
We have a crypto business. We have a payments business, and we are regulated. So we're quite unique in that sense. And I don't think the market has picked up on that in terms of the story, which we're about to go out and tell again in detail to various people.
Okay, Jonathan. So OTC, I think that's quite important as well. I mean, there's one company I obviously invested in, and they got an OTC listing in it. Not overnight, but within sort of 4 or 5 weeks, the share price reflected the dual listing. It's my understanding that the OTC kind of drains the shares from London. That's where they get the supply.
Yeah, it just mirrors the price in the UK. So, but it does open up the market to a much bigger
audience.
Yeah, so there's a deeper pool of interest, and we have a lot of US investors already, and we have a following in the US, so it's a natural sort of progression for us. The OTC listing application isn't onerous; it's quite easy. The only problem we've had recently is that the SEC and FINRA in the US are just overwhelmed with applications. So, and just generally, so what should have taken 6 to 8 weeks is taking more like 9 to 11 weeks. We are expecting a decision like within the next days, which should be positive. So I expect it to be listed soon. It's taken longer than we expected, but it was out of our control. It was the US regulators that are overwhelmed, and that's just across the board. So, but it'll be a great addition. As I said, our plan is to almost relaunch the company in Q4. We're going to go out and do a quite large roadshow to investors and shareholders and existing investors. We're preparing presentations. We're preparing how we're going to do that, because we think we've done so much since the IPO of October 20. We've delivered everything we said in that prospectus, plus more. And now it's time to go out again and really get the understanding of this company, because we feel that people don't understand the company yet, and we need to just get the story out again in a very sort of succinct way that people understand, which is easy to understand, which is we are trying to create a super app with an ecosystem for financial services, incorporating things like Bitcoin, open banking, and major partnerships like the Hut Group. And it needs to be explained properly again. So we're planning quite a big roadshow towards the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. But I think you're right, seeking the OTCQB listing as well. I think that will give you a lot of exposure. Well, it will, to the North American markets. And there was another company that we had on the podcast recently, and they are also in the crypto space effectively. And it was transformational really for them when they got that listing. So I think that would be a big point for the company to get to there. But let's then look at how things have changed with Mode, because last time we spoke, when I was speaking to Rita and obviously Yanis as well, the idea is that what you could do in Mode was to buy your Bitcoin, and it is very easy, and the open banking is fantastic. It's really cool. And even your app, it says cool. When you do it, it's like cool, thanks, which is nice. It's just really swish and easy to connect to your bank and bring money in. And then you hold your Bitcoin, and I could put it in the Bitcoin jar, and it was getting 5% interest a year. Now that's changing, isn't it? Now you're stopping the interest on Bitcoin, and you're moving towards what you told us before, and what Rita was telling was in the plans, which is to be able to actually interact with merchants. And you mentioned the Hut Group, obviously a very big company there. So you can actually then use. Is it right that you can pay through the Mode app and interact with a merchant, and then as part of that you can get cash back in Bitcoin?
Yeah. So the Hut Group has 30 brands, over 30 brands actually, and they will integrate, or we will integrate together across their platform, the open banking payments business that we've created, and it will allow you to go onto the app, deposit money through faster payments, buy or sell Bitcoin, and then transfer over to the merchants within the Hut Group platform, buy whatever it may be, using your Mode app, and you'll receive Bitcoin cashback, as we call it, which has never been done before, as we understand it. So this will be the first payments option regarding crypto for the Hut Group. So it will be unique in that sense. Just picking up on the interest piece on the Bitcoin jar. There is some pressure from regulators globally to close down these business models because they are very high risk. So we had a partner we worked with to basically give us a return on the Bitcoin. It was just becoming high risk for us, and we decided that it wasn't in the best interest of the business. It wasn't profitable for us. It was break even at best. And, we did gain a lot of customers through it, obviously because it was offering a decent rate of interest. But those business models are not sustainable anymore. And I think you're going to see most of them closing down or changing to different business models. We're just trying to stay ahead of the game.
Okay.
And we're trying to stay in step with the regulator and listening to them and sort of saying to them, well, we do think there is the ability and demand for a product like an interest-bearing crypto account, but we don't think it's been thought through properly yet, and why don't we do that together? So with the FCA, we decided to just withdraw the product, move it towards the rewards product, which we were always going to do. And we are working actively with the FCA to come back to market at some point with something that is tested, is demonstrated to be tested, and is within the sort of regulation. There's just, as I keep saying to you, there's a clamp down on regulation, and these business models will not exist, I don't believe, very shortly. Not in Europe anyway. The US has a slightly different regulatory environment where you can do things a lot easier in terms of what we're discussing here, but in Europe, it's very difficult. So we just took the decision to be proactive. We're paying out interest or we call it a reward to the end of August, a similar rate to what we were, and then it will switch to something different. So that was a reason for withdrawing it. Nothing more than that, but it wasn't profitable to us anyway. So. And
when you say that the business model is, you mean the business model of receiving interest on crypto? It's not really something.
It's not sustainable at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Not for. We had a partner who did it for us, but I'm just saying that those partners, we know they're under pressure now. I don't think the business model is sustainable, so they have to change it. The US is completely different. The US has a different view on it and a different way to operate it. But the European market, I don't think you're going to see people offering large interest rates on crypto-backed accounts in the near future. But I think it will come back in a different way. Okay. And we will be leading that and be part of it with the FCA.
No, I'm sure you will. I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're not hanging around. You are, as I said at the start, blazing a trail, and to partner with the Hut Group, and to have to see, I guess you would see, as you say, the Mode as a payment option, and then you go through the app, do you, to authorize it, and then you get your percentage crypto back. I mean, how difficult was it to partner with the Hut Group, and when is it going to be all signed and delivered? Do you think?
Yeah. So. It's all signed. It was all signed now. The contract signed. It's taken us the best part of 8 months. My sales team at Mode have done a great job getting into there. As I said, we're the first crypto relevant business that they have taken on as a payments option. We were dealing with the very top of the company in terms of the executive team at the very top. We had a great rapport. We had sort of similar ambitions. I've seen a bit of criticism about lack of sort of merchant signups that we've had on social media, and we don't announce every merchant we signed, and we had a merchant business before this with our Alipay and WeChat Pay merchant acquiring business. We are signing up merchants all the time. We announced the Hut Group because it's so significant. The Hut Group is a FTSE 100 company partnering with a very small but growing company like Mode, and they don't hand out partnerships to everyone. But we have demonstrated to them that our system, our platform, and our system, and our ambitions are very serious. They work, and they are happy that we will be able to deliver what we say we'll be able to deliver, which will be unique. It will not be replicated anywhere by the time we launch the business. I think we're going to launch a few of the brands end of August. Nobody will be doing this over open banking. No one will be giving Bitcoin cash back. No one will be giving the options that we're giving. And therefore, it does make it a very, very revolutionary agreement with them to get something out like this during this difficult time. So we're very, very excited, and we've got a great relationship with them. And this is the first step of many with them. We've got many other ideas that we're gonna work with them on. This is just the beginning for us. And we've got a number of partners equally as big as this that are talking to us now about similar arrangements, along with all the other merchants that we've been signing up over the last 3 years through the Alipay, WeChat Pay platform, but also through the new Mode for Business platform. So once people understand the relevance of what we're doing properly and we explain it in a way that people understand, I think you'll see this company become something totally different. It will become very, very exciting. It will become very, very preferred, we feel, because of the regulatory side. And we're about to, as I said, go out on a sort of global roadshow to actually explain to people exactly what we've done with the likes of the Hut Group. So very exciting for us.
And when... sorry, can you go on?
Yeah, sorry, I'll just jump in there, Mark. I'm actually on the Hut website at the moment, and the first sort of thing sort of jumps out at me. It reminds me almost it's like the John Lewis of the e-commerce world. It's just a fantastic selection of stuff that you can get. I better not show my wife it because it's got barber stuff on there as well. So that's one of our weaknesses. So I better.
No, I mean the Hut Group is, as I said, it's a FTSE 100 company. It's a leader in its field. It's a huge e-commerce platform. It's got an amazing technology platform called Ingenuity, which is doing things that are, again, revolutionary. So I can't think of any partner who would be better for us on day one of our launch. They've got everything that we need. They've got the right approach. They've got the right sort of team in place to assist our team. And we're very, small companies like ours, and I don't want to call us small because we won't be small for very long, but we are small in terms of market cap on the London Stock Exchange. Small companies like us do not sign deals like this unless they believe that we have the right ingredients to deliver and execute our plan. So I don't see why we won't. The team is first class now that I've got around me and us. So we're very excited about this, and it shows to people. It's a global advert for us saying we've done a deal with the FTSE 100 company. Come and see what we've done, and we're getting contacted by the biggest of the biggest names, which I never expected this early in our evolution. So, and that's all off the back of the announcement with the Hut Group.
Sorry, Mark, I'm jumping in again. Just out of curiosity, Jonathan, and I don't know if you're allowed to say at this moment in time. I mean, the talk about cashback on purchases. Have you any sort of guidance on what that kind of level of cashback would be, or is it depending on the item, the cost, etc.?
It's all we're modelling that all now. So I'm not sure what the final numbers would be and how it's going to be structured, but the guys are modelling internally now too. We've got a merchandise store. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
If you go on the merchandise store, you can buy a hat and a bag and a T-shirt and whatnot, and you get a very small amount of cash back. It's quite cool. If you got a chance to have a look at it, maybe Kenny can look at it because I know Mark, you're in the Netherlands. Maybe Kenny can look at it and just see what sort of cash back and how it works. It is quite exciting to just watch it. And we got a great demo actually, which I'd like to try and get to you guys at some point, because we will be putting it up on the website at some point. But we've got a really good demo of how it works, showing you how to pay for the item, getting the cash back, and how easy it is to do. So that might be an interesting thing for you guys to see.
Yeah. Okay. So it kind of explains and shows how it all works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that would be good. So then, what's this about? You said you've launched a new payment solution in beta. So is that sort of a beta? It's a trial mode so people can test it before it actually goes live, so to speak, with for example, the Hut.
Yeah. So we have launched it with our own Mode store. That's the merchandise store.
Yeah.
And when the Hut Group goes live, that will be the official launch of the platform. So
okay,
we're testing it with our own merchandise store. A lot of our sort of investors and followers on social media are buying hats and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, and then what else have you done then? You said you you've appointed an open banking co-author, a CTO, is that right?
Yeah, we appointed Jonathan Conway, who was the co-author of the banking specification for open banking. I think we appointed him around January.
Okay.
And he's been a really great addition to the team, understands open banking inside out from a technical perspective. We are building this ecosystem, this global platform to basically be able to manage all your financial services in one place seamlessly. So coming into the application through the app which you guys have seen, depositing money through faster payments, buying and selling Bitcoin or transferring in or out, you'll be able to buy things on the platform across the platform to where our merchants are using our open banking platform, which is using QR codes. It's very easy, it's very fast, it's cost effective, it's low cost, it's safe, it's secure, and you'll be able to get Bitcoin rewards back, and a host of other things that are coming, which I can't talk about now. But if you look at various companies out there like Revolut, PayPal, Stripe, we're going to be doing all of it. We're trying to take on, in some ways, Visa and MasterCard with what we're doing. We're taking on all of these companies in a way that is carefully sort of orchestrated, using the best in brand partners, and hiring just a fantastic team, which goes back to the sort of appointment of Jonathan Conway, etc. The team now is about 60 people, so we're growing pretty fast.
Right.
And we really have a very motivated bunch of people who are keen, and I think we are a leading light in some of the things we're doing. As we were talking about the Hut Group just now, we get approached by people daily. This is not us contacting them, it's people coming to us who are merchants going, we've heard you do this and that regarding Bitcoin and open banking. It's unprecedented, the amount of interest we have and we are seeing. We can't hire people quick enough to handle the phone calls.
Wow.
And to talk to people and educate people, because they want it, they know they need it, they know they want it. They don't know what it means and how to go about it. And we're getting so much traction from that. And I'm not talking, mum and pop shops and corner shops. I'm talking global retailers, FTSE 100 companies coming to us off the back of announcements regarding the Hut Group and various other things, and saying to us, we like what you're doing. How do we get involved, and how quickly can we get involved? So, it's just, this is really, really ramping up now, and it's exciting for us to be in the middle of it.
No, that's great. When people are coming to you for that, that's really good.
Yeah,
Mark and Kenny, I really am talking about FTSE 100 companies and global businesses coming to us, picking up the phone and cold calling us to say, how do we get involved in this? I've never seen it before for a business at this stage of its evolution.
Yeah, it's Jonathan, it's a bit like when some of these bricks and mortar high street retailers decided not to have an online presence, and within 3 or 4 years, a lot of these companies didn't exist because they didn't adopt. So you've simply got to adopt, because if you don't, it's survival of the fittest, and people quickly change their shopping or their retail or even their banking methods based on how easy something is to use and how mainstream it is. It's almost like contactless with a debit card. That I was a bit wary when it came out. Now I get absolutely frustrated when I've got to actually physically put my card into the machine and put my code in. You just want everything easy and quickly and less hassle and cheap as well, ultimately.
And all that stuff is moving a lot faster than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We would have put up with things like that, Kenny, for a while in the past, but now we want it to change very quickly, and we adopt it very quickly. And the speed of change is significant in this business. So, I think people will adopt all this sort of stuff a lot quicker than they adopted the internet or contactless cards or credit cards or whatever. It's just everything's getting a lot faster.
But I mean, just on that, just quickly on that sort of speed of transaction and cost of transaction, is it what's this whole thing that my impression of Bitcoin is it's not designed for that. It's not designed to transact. And there are other cryptos out there that are more efficient in that. Or is it a non-issue, do you think, Jonathan?
I think it will become a non-issue. So we know that the transaction speeds of the blockchain are getting quicker and quicker. Bitcoin might not be the fastest, but it's getting faster. And I just don't think those are issues that will become a problem.
Okay.
Most of that narrative comes from people who don't want Bitcoin or don't want cryptos or are against the change in financial services, basically. So I think it's a non-issue over time.
Okay. And I wonder, maybe we can sort of finish up if you're happy to maybe discuss the crypto or the Bitcoin market in general. And Kenny, I know you're probably more aware of what's going on because you're really into some of the obscure coins that are out there. But what's your feeling, Jonathan, about where it is at the moment? Obviously, it has pulled back probably 50% from recent highs. And I know we discussed with Yanis, he said that really, regardless of these pullbacks, if you were to hold Bitcoin rather than either coin, you would have basically come out on top pretty much all the time. But what do you think about the swings and where this kind of market is at the moment in crypto? It's still kind of finding its feet, I think, and that's what makes it volatile. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the market in general from a public market perspective, there's been a huge run up in the stock markets. There's been huge quantitative easing by money printing by the US Fed and the UK and the European Central Bank. Everything has really gone upwards. And that is a reflection of the money that's been put into the system, in my opinion. That has changed in the last few months, where we have seen liquidity in the markets definitely pull back and become less volatile, less liquid, people circulating out of some stocks into other stocks. But we've also seen fintech companies coming to the market with huge valuations like TransferWise, Coinbase in the US. And those companies are important. So I think, just to answer your question indirectly then directly, the market sentiment globally has changed, in my opinion, over the last 3 months. And we're seeing a slight slowdown, a slight risk-off approach. And I think with that, things like Bitcoin, which have been volatile, are risky, are going to suffer, and the less of the coin, the more suffering it's going to have. What has happened to Bitcoin is traded between 30 and 35,000 for quite a few weeks now. It's in a very tight range for Bitcoin. It seems to have stabilized there. We're still seeing big institutions come in and buy. I think that just proves to you that Bitcoin is here to stay, and the other coins will just float around dependent on market sentiment. And the market sentiment at the moment towards crypto in particular is not great. Market sentiment towards fintech, though, is very, very strong. And I saw a report yesterday or 2 days ago that the UK was the largest fintech investment country in Europe for the last 12 months. We saw, as I said, TransferWise come public this week or last week on Wednesday, Coinbase a few months ago. There's definitely a demand and interest in unique, different fintech companies. And I think that leaves us in a great position. I think the market hasn't realized that with Mode, and our share price hasn't really moved much over the last few weeks. But I think once we get out on the road, tell the story, explain to people that this is not a crypto company, it's not a payments company, it's a global ecosystem for financial services, incorporating in particular Bitcoin and open banking, people will start to understand the relevance of what we're doing. We're not affected by crypto pricing. We're not affected by individual things. We have a broad-based approach to our business. We've got a platform that's working with FTSE 100 companies, a great team, and we are in the right place at the right time. And I think, there's always going to be movements in markets. Markets are always going to go up and down. Crypto is going to move around. Stock market's going to move around. Currency is going to move around. This business is being built to sustain through all of that and not being reliant on any one thing in particular.
Yeah. I think it's like a bit like the old saying there, when there's a gold rush, Jonathan, sell picks and shovels, because that's the people that make the most money. So these guys are obviously doing the infrastructure behind the crypto ecosystem.
Yeah. I think I still believe in crypto. It might go to 20,000, it might go to 100,000. I haven't really got a view on it.
Right.
I don't really care. It doesn't affect my business.
No.
The more people who trade the business and hold Bitcoin with us, that's where we make the money, not from the fluctuation in prices.
No, okay. I remember last time when you told us a bit about your history when you were listing companies in the .com boom and so that craziness and you listed on one day and the next day it was like a heck of a lot more. It had gone up in value quite a lot. Where do you feel we are in that regard now? If we're sort of saying that, which I've heard before, that we're at .com but on the right side of it, where do you feel we are on that kind of adoption curve? And all these other random coins that I know Kenny likes to get involved with, it is a bit crazy. Do you think some of them will survive? But I'm trying to sort of figure out where, in your opinion, do you think we are if we're comparing it to the .com boom? I mean, do you think things like regulation will be a key moment, or even CBDCs? We've heard talk of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the .com boom was just a period of time where people got into a frenzy and funded and bought everything. But .com revolution started in the early 90s, and it's still here today. The biggest company in the world, some of the biggest companies in the world are .com companies. Amazon was a bookseller in the 90s, and it's now the biggest company in the world. So you go through these sort of peaks and troughs. I think we're in the middle of a financial revolution where financial services is changing forever, and that will last forever, and it will change over a period of time, which probably started at the crisis of 08-09. And I would say we're in the early stages of it. So yeah, there will be down days in the markets and companies will fail and valuations will change. But ultimately, companies like Mode and TransferWise and Coinbase are changing the way people use financial services forever. And therefore, the short-termism of the stock market is not relevant here. And I keep trying to tell my employees and shareholders that if you look at this on a short-term basis, there's no point, because long-term execution of our plan is where we think the value will be created. And the markets are fickle. We shouldn't worry too much about that. I do believe companies will fail. I do believe cryptocurrencies will fail, because things always fail. I've failed in some of the things I've done. But I feel like compared to that .com frenzy of 99, 2000, we're certainly not there in terms of a sort of small period of time where there's a huge frenzy of buying activity for these companies. But it's not relevant, because the long term is the vision for us. And if we have a frenzy, great. We're not all going to sell out and run away. I'm here for the long term. I like what we're doing. I think the opportunity is vast. We just don't have enough time in the day to deliver everything we want to deliver.
Yeah, okay. And do you think we'll see central banks make their own digital currencies one day?
Probably. I haven't got a view, but probably. Yeah. But I still think Bitcoin wins. Bitcoin will be the largest currency we know, I believe.
Okay. Okay. Well, Kenny, do you have any?
No. That's good. That's probably 45 minutes. It's time just flies by, so it does. I've actually, while we were chatting there, I've just downloaded the Mode app, and I'm just about to go through my verification.
There you go.
Yeah, so I've been threatening to do it for weeks on end, and Mark's been on my case. So,
Kenny, buy something in the merchandise store, because you'll see how the Bitcoin cashback works. Buy a cap. I think they're 10 quid.
Yeah, I seen the £5 cashback Bitcoin. Yeah, I've already had a look. So yeah, I'll probably buy something. But yeah, I just want to see how seamless it is. But so far, so good. I'm just at the KYC stage, so I need to go and get my passport, and that'll be it done.
Good.
Right. Okay.
Thanks very much, guys.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you very much for giving us that update. An awful lot going on, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to other members of your team at some point as well to keep tabs on the story. But thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to another podcast from Market Musings with Ben and Russell. Tune in next time.